Alright, YouTube, so we are back to talk about some Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I actually wanted to go over really the only complaint that I have so far regarding this game. Shout out really quickly to JBed Games for the video I'm using in the background. I think I've used this video before, but it gets rid of the keyhole graphic whenever you're peering into other rooms and also the red lighting. So if it's not already obvious by the background video, I want to talk about the wall market stuff we got from the new theme song trailer. I touched on this a little bit with my trailer breakdown, but I wanted to make a dedicated video about this stuff. So one of my worries or complaints whenever I did my trailer breakdown video is that it seemed like Cloud was getting the cross-dressing scene, the makeover scene, at the Honeybein as opposed to going to the dress shop and collecting all the items, and that was a bit of a worry. It seemed like it was a forced thing now, but that may not be the case. And why I thought that initially is because we actually see Cloud sit down in the chair, and then it cuts to him in the chair in the dress and getting makeup applied. But it might just be the editing of this part, because if you pay attention to the scene, when he first sits down, he's dressed in his normal Cloud outfit, and then he's magically in the dress getting the makeup applied. So there could be two different scenes happening here. So what could be happening here is the part where Cloud sits down in his regular Cloud outfit. That could be the first time you visit Honeybein. And then the part where he's getting the makeup applied and he's already in the dress, that might be when you come back to the Honeybein in the dress and they give you the makeup just like the original game. The thing is, we're unsure of at this point, and probably won't know until the full game comes out, if they've actually changed the cross-dressing scene. Obviously, it's still in the game. We see Cloud in the dress and walking around, but maybe you don't go around Wall Market collecting stuff. Maybe you do just come to the Honeybein, get a dress there, get the makeover there. It might be different this time around. I'm not sure. We've also had a look at the Squats minigame, which is just a minigame in the original game and the remake, but it could have also been alluding to the collecting of items, because in the original game, of course, you had to do the Squats minigame to get the blonde wig. Either way, it remains to be seen, of course, if they've changed how you enter Don Corneo's mansion, how you acquire the dress or the outfit, but that was one of these small ones anyway. I just wanted to talk about it, but it was a concern whenever I did my trailer breakdown. And coming off the back of that, we have the Don Corneo scene that we got from the trailer where Cloud actually talks, which for me is a bit weird, because that would obviously give away that he's not a female.
Today's right to be is...
Today's?
Pathetic. Huh? Which one of you said that?
Now, Cloud does talk during this scene in the original game, but it's after Don Corneo has already chose him, and we don't know in what way he's saying it, because he could be saying it in a kind of girly way to keep up the disguise, for all we know. We also see in the original game that he tries to avoid eye contact with Don Corneo. Now, whether or not this is to not give away that he's a guy, or maybe he doesn't want Don Corneo to see the Mako eyes potentially, it could be a lot of different reasons. The point is, he obviously doesn't want Don Corneo to realize he's a guy yet, and he's surprised whenever Don Corneo chooses him, so it's weird to me that he would talk during this scene at all, so I'm wondering if there's actually a choice at all for Don Corneo when it comes to the remake. Maybe he doesn't choose between Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith, going back to the dress thing. Maybe we don't go around collecting better items so that he chooses Cloud. For all we know, after the lineup scene right there from the trailer, it rolls into, us, maybe chasing Don Corneo into his room, threatening him like we do in the original game, and then he drops us into the sewer. It could happen differently now. Plus, let's not forget that Don Corneo is a very dark character. He kidnaps women and has sex with them, against their will, obviously. So he's a very bad character, and they're obviously trying to change things up for the modern era when it comes to stuff. Even when it comes to the Honeybein, which we're going to get to next, it seems like they're changing things. And I can't imagine this game keeping a T rating and him still being Don Corneo like he was in the original game. Now, the official ESRB rating does mention a scene where a man is ogling women's bodies while making suggestive hand gestures and hip movements. So that's obviously got to be about Don Corneo because he does the hip thrusting stuff, but I don't know if they're going to be that on the nose when it comes to the remake about what it is that he's actually doing. On to the Honeybein. So when it came to the trailer breakdown video, my concern with it was that it did not look like the Honeybein, because we have dancers up on a stage, and you actually have people in the crowd sitting at tables and stuff like that, watching the stage performance. And to kind of add on to this club aspect, you actually have men and women outside the front of the Honeybein, which is not how it was in the original game. There was only men on the outside of the Honeybein, because it's a brothel. It's a whorehouse. It's full of prostitutes. It's not where the family goes to have a good time. And the thing is, we've talked about this before, 7 months ago with the video where we went over an interview that Tetsuya Nomura did with Famitsu, where we actually talked about them nerfing the Honeybein. And the quote was, "The Honeybein cross-dressing event is still in. We've made it more modern. If we made the facility like we did in the original game, the physical unease would be staggering, so that was no good." So we've known for a while that they were probably going to be changing the Honeybein, and this is our first look at it, and it does look changed. It looks like they're shying away from what it was in the original game. And that's pretty disappointing, man. And I'm not over here trying to get upset because, I want my brothel, my whorehouse in the game. But it's that's one of the things that was just weird and charming about Final Fantasy VII. It was such a weird and quirky game. And this is one of those side things. It's entirely optional. And that's part of the reason why it's almost offensive for them to put it into the game, but also change it. Because they could have just cut it out entirely. And while that would have sucked, I'd rather them do that than put it in the game and it be something entirely different. And look, I completely understand why they have to change it. The Honeybee Inn is a pretty bad location. If you go to the original Japanese release or some of the cut content, there's even more additional scenes and rooms and things in the Honeybee Inn, like the lobby, for example, where there's actually pictures of the women whose services you can procure all over the walls and things. There's also the mystery panties, which is implied that a guy stole them from Tifa from the Seventh Heaven bar. And of course, things that did actually make it into the final game that would not translate very well to a modern game. So the logic of why they would change a location like this isn't the issue. I understand it. It all makes sense. But my thing is, like, if you're going to change a location like this from what it was in the original game, which was a very bad location, a very funny, weird location, but you're going to change it to something else that's more family-friendly, don't put it in the game at all. I'd rather just not have it. And the thing is, since we know that they are changing the Honeybee Inn, they pretty much have to change Don Corneo as well. Because here's the thing, regardless of how bad the Honeybee Inn is, they're prostitutes, they know what's going on, they're getting paid for sex. Whereas with Don Corneo, he's doing something that I cannot say because of monetization, but it starts with an R, and I think we all know it. And let's be honest here, if they change Don Corneo, and they change the Honeybee Inn, it really kind of ruins what was a really fun segment of the Final Fantasy VII. Just because they kept Cloud in a dress doesn't make up for those changes. And this isn't one of our, like, discussion videos where it's sort of a conspiracy theory where we kind of have a little bit of evidence, like Red 13, is he playable, is he not? Like, we have a quote from Tetsuya Nomura, who is the director of this damn game, saying that they're changing the Honeybee Inn. And that's why it's disappointing. And look, the wall market segment is such a small part of the original game, it's really not that important, and the Honeybee Inn is entirely optional. But this is one of the most nostalgic, memorable things from playing this game, especially if you grew up playing it. Like, even if it's just because of LOL, guy dresses up like girl, you remember the wall market segment. And so for them to be changing it, it's just, I don't know, man, it's disappointing. It's a concern. It's my only concern so far. I've had zero complaints with Final Fantasy VII Remake, the game. I've had some issues with Square Enix, but the game itself has looked pretty much flawless for me every step of the way, up until the wall market stuff here recently. So, of course, I want to pass it off to you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think they're going to change the wall market segment? Do you think they're going to change Don Corneo? Do you think they're going to change the Honeybee Inn entirely? Because it looks like a completely different location now. And is that a problem? Is that a concern for you? Let me know in the comments. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and want to stay updated with more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on notifications. Follow me on Twitter at @dashingdavid. I'm a Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Or at least less like a child.